Hi, my friend. It's Pat Sloan here. So, what does Irish coffee and a book nook have to do with each other? They're part of today's topic, of course. So, first, let's talk about the books. So, in the book nook today, I want to feature and let you, remind you, in case you didn't know, that I have a whole part of my website dedicated to books that have a quilt theme. So they're novels, they're stories, and interweaved there are quilters. Sometimes it's a little bit of quilting, sometimes it's a lot of quilting. I did this last year sometime, maybe it was in 2020, it was probably last year, or probably early 2020, anyway. Whenever I did it. I also put in there some with knitting, some with baking, because as I was finding these, other things would get recommended to me. So I'd be like, oh, that would be fun. So I started reading some of the series from Carol Dean Jones. So I actually interviewed Carol Dean Jones several years ago, and she has been writing for a while. It is her retirement career. She retired and then decided she'd always wanted to be a writer and writes novels. So they're called cozies. So for those of you who are avid readers, you know cozies are friendly mysteries. Like there's a murder, but it's friendly and it's not gory and it's not scary. But there's all those kind of things. There's romance, but there's nothing too too risque, and that they're just really nice sort of cozy stories. So when I had my nose surgery, which was 2 months ago, almost to the day, I started out with her first book, and then I read the second book and decided that I definitely have to read them in order, because the characters she very definitely brings the characters along. She very definitely adds in new characters. So I am going to start book 3, and then after that, these are the 3 she sent me when I interviewed her, and she was so nice to have, she autographed them for me. Now they have the pattern that she's talking about is in the book at the back somewhere. Yeah, so here's like the starburst pattern is in there. And she did send me some business cards when she did this. They're kind of foldy ones, and she listed her books in order, which I think when you go to her Amazon author page, you can do a list order. They are all digital now, so that you can get digital. So in the description box below, and if you just go to my I Love to Make Quilts website, it is down next to the part, there's a grid, there's a table in there, and there's the one that has where you can send your charity quilts. Right next to that is the book. So it's like all the book list. There are tons and tons of them. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the character. This is heavy quilting. There's a lot of quilt story in here. Carol is a quilter herself, and so that really helps because it all makes sense, You're really not finding something in there like, oh, it's not really quilted stuff, but it's really good. Okay, the other thing, Irish coffee. Today is Irish Coffee Day, so I want to show you my Irish coffee quilt. Yes, I do. I have one. Ta-da! This is a quilt I made for my Tour of Ireland book. So in my book, what we did was my publishers actually went on this tour with me. We had a busload of quilters, and we went to Ireland, and my publishers came along and they brought all the quilts that I made for the book, and they photographed them around Ireland during the tour. So this one, the whole bus stopped at a place to take a break, and they were doing Irish coffees, and it was probably about 10 a.m. And if you're not familiar with the Irish coffee, it has Irish whiskey in it. So we all got in line to get our Irish coffee, and I have a photo in the book of me drinking the Irish coffee, and then afterwards I immediately spilled it down the front of my outfit. This was also like the third day of the trip, or the second day of the trip, and I had not yet, thought to bring a different top with me. So then I had to go buy a sweatshirt, which it was a little chilly. So I bought a sweatshirt that said Ireland, and I proceeded to wear that the rest of the day to cover up my my spill. I will never forget that. I think I still have that sweatshirt. I think I said I had to keep that one. It's got too many stories with it. Okay, so those are the two things there for our calendar today. Now let's talk about the red woodland wonderland, because I started assembling it and I thought I would just walk you through a little bit about how I'm assembling it, and then I have some fabric borders auditioned here because I sort of had this thing in my head. But let's first look at what I have going on. What I decided to do was, instead of taking this and graphing it all out, which I could have done, instead I just started working on a little piece of paper section by section. What I figured out is that I could actually sew 2 verticals. So this would be one vertical and here would be the second vertical. So that made it really easy. So the first thing I did is that this one, I sort of had this as a top section, and then the trees would be sort of a left section, and then the third section over here would be all of this. So they all had to be the same width. So I sewed that one first, so I knew how wide that was and that these would all fit underneath. And then I'm like, okay, this ended up being 14 inches, 14 and a half inches with the seam allowance. So when I sewed it, I needed to make sure all of these sections add up to that, which, I basically did a little math and then cut the strips and then measured to be sure I got what I was looking for. Now I did want to put an even spacing between the mushrooms and the gnome. So that's a finished 1-inch strip. And so that's going to work out really well. That means this mushroom will be flat up against this left side. There'll be 1 inch, and then there'll be some sort of probably spacer on the right side, maybe even just a tiny skinny one. I also had to hand applique down this hexie. So let me get that off of there. So I did that. Whoops. I did that last night. So I've got that guy hand up, but the papers are still in it. These are not dissolvable papers. They're paper. So I need to slit the back here and get all the paper out of it. But that'll be tall. It'll have the background tall, but not very wide. I basically will be having, just a little bit on either side. So I'm pretty happy about how that's coming along. It shouldn't take me too long to finish that up. Then I went looking for some little borders because I need to put something around it that's not too wide, which means the pattern on it needs to be fairly dense. So I had a couple really pretty big, red and whites, but the pattern was too big. So, it'd be really lost because my border might only be 1 inch around the whole thing, a finished inch or a finished 1.25 inches, something like that. So I found a couple. This one was red, white, and blue, and I didn't really want to add the blue in because I don't have any blue. There's gray. I have gray, but no blue. I did not have enough of these mushroom caps or that tree fabric, which would have been fun to repeat them, and I'm not searching to buy them. So I found instead both this fabric. Here, let me show you. I found these two, which I think are perfect. One of these will work. I kind of lean towards this one just because I can use it up. I don't have that much, and if I can get everything I need out of it, I can use all of this up. Otherwise, I have plenty of this. I can actually do this and do the binding and maybe even use some of it up as a backing. So this little guy is almost finished, really. He won't take me too long to finish up and get that center done. So excited. I'm like, okay, we've got to keep moving on this, which means I'm not doing a few of the other things, but I just want to get it done and enjoy it. Okay. So that I have to create my next UFO list for February, like which UFOs I'll work on. And that's really not a UFO because it's the project, the main quilt is now ready to go to the spa. It's going to go to Judy, who's quilted a lot of my things. So she's going to be quilting a whole group of things for me. But I want to get this one done too. And I may just quilt this one myself because it's tiny, rather than sending it up there. But another thing I did that I said I was going to do, this is a new project. So not a UFO, but a new project. I did the Holiday Homies pillow and quilted, so it's got batting behind just the front, and I quilted just straight lines in the blue, in the light blue. So it got that grid, and that's it, just that easy quilting. So there we are, ta-da! The pillow is finished, yes! So that was a new start. Okay, we're going to go to the other side of the table to talk about the Valentine Sew Along. For Valentine Sew Along, each of the heart pieces is using, you're cutting 5-inch strips. So see that? So that means my layer cake, this is perfect because layer cakes are 10 inches. 2 by 5 is layer cake friendly. So I want to show you how I'm gonna pick up what I want for these. So as I said in the other videos, I'm not going to use these cream colors. I will instead be looking at these pinks and peaches. So what have I got? I need to see. So I've got this shades of pink, and then these are the sort of peach color, coral, I think people like to call that, and then a little bit darker, and I don't know what this is. This is kind of in between. It could be, I could go over there with more of the pink, and then these are the red colors. Is that red? Yeah, red. And then we've got 2 shades of purple. So the darker purple and the lighter purple. So that means what I want to do is there's 6, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 stacks. And if I'm doing 2 cuts from each, then, and I'm doing how many? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 9 blocks. I had to count. So there's 9 blocks. So I'm going to take strips off of all of them. I think I'm going to make it super scrappy, and that will be fun. So I will take strips, which means I'll get 2 from each, and then do all of them, all the different fabrics from each pile, and just kind of go like this. I think would be fun. So I'll rotate them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like you rotate around, and you'll have 2, you know, of whichever your starting one is, the top and the bottom, which I could mix it up. They don't have to stay in that order, top and bottom, but that gives me a way to roll through these. And I could take whatever set these are and do those 6 fabrics here and here, and then just switch the fabrics around. Or what I could do is make all of the rectangles. See here, you know, you're making all the rectangles, and there, okay, you're making all those rectangles, and then I can just mix them all up. Between all 9 of them, there would be 18 of these, and then I can just mix all of those up so that they're different. And just be sure I have nothing that the same, I want to make them alternating, so I don't want the same ones touching. So that would be the only thing I have to think of. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these to do that. That is the project to get, you know, I'm going to put it on a design board so then I can keep track of it. There we go. So I have them sort of alternated by color now, and that is a plan for this guy. Okay, now the other thing I want to do today is open the Montana Mittens here together. See, I haven't even opened it yet, and let's see it. Let's see how it is, because this is the last thing on my list of things to do in January, and of course I must do it then because I must have all 6 items that I get done, of course. Okay, so I have a red, a camel color. I think the red's an accent because it's the smallest piece, and Kate has a pattern for us. She has several different colors of these. There were some really pretty blue ones at one time. You know, she does a lot of garment making in her stores. There's a lot of garment clothing, so she has a lot of things like this with the wool. All right, so there she gives you, like she tells you how, here's the pattern. Has a nice photo that shows you how to lay it out, how to cut it. She's got more photos. Here's like something that's showing you great photos on the pattern. See, showing you how you're going to put the mittens together. It's really not that much, is it? It looks really simple. I could have used them. So I went for a walk today being Monday, and it was the first day that I've actually walked outside, other than I did a quick walk to go pick up something at the plaza, but taking a longer walk through the neighborhood like I like to do. This is the first time in weeks because it just felt too cold. The last couple of times I did it, it was really harsh on my skin with my incision from having my nose surgery. So that was difficult. So then I ended up having to wear the mask the whole time because that protected my face. But today it was, better. The sun was out when I went for my walk. It's not out so much now, but it was just so nice. It felt so good. Okay, so here's the pattern. So this is it. Find which one I'm going to do. Whether I'm a small, left and right, I don't know. I might have a small hand. So what do I got? There's the thumb. I might be small. I don't know. I might end up making just a muslin, just taking some, or I don't even own any muslin. I don't know why I say that. It's just kind of a generic use of the word. But I might just take some white fabric, which I have a ton of, and make a sample one with the white fabric so that I can see that my hand fits in there well enough, because I don't want to decide to make a small one and then it's too tight, So I can also then adjust it a bit if I feel like it. So here, see, she's got all the different pattern pieces. So this is so cool. I am pumped up to do this. Look at this gorgeous, 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 gorgeous fabric. So I've got the tan and the black, and I have a black jacket. My winter jacket is black. I also have a sort of a faux lambskin, like fake lambskin, but the outside. So whatever color that is, like tan. It's like this color almost. I have that too. So I have these three colors. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so I can get that done. This is Tuesday. The end of the month is next Tuesday. Yeah, I can get this done. I will work on it. This and the Woodland Wonderland. And then, of course, I'm working on that calendar, which I might have. I'll have it this week. I'll have it by Friday. Friday, definitely. So I might have it one of the days sooner. I just started sort of thinking about it. What I was doing was going through all the projects that I say I'm going to work on and what I actually now think I will work on. So occasionally I'll mention something and then I think, no, that isn't what I can fit in. So I don't, I won't pursue that. And then there's stuff that I make that's not really a sew along, like doing this Woodland Wonderland in the red and white. That's not really, that's just extra pieces I had and I'm now making it up. So those things I show you too, because they're fun for me. That makes it fun to quilt because that's what I like to do. Okay, on the Book Nook. If you have not read any of Carol's books, I think you would enjoy them. I really think you would. I believe, like she told me when we talked and I interviewed her, her first book, the first book is, she said she built her skills up as she went along. And I could just see in the two books a huge sort of difference in a little bit of the complexity of the story. The story's a little bit simpler in the first one. Well, this is the first one. That's the first one. This is the third one. I would say that the story is fairly straightforward, and the next one gets a little bit more twisty. Just a little bit more going on. So that's exciting. So I'm going to start reading this one now. I don't read a lot of books, and I read kind of just a little bit here, a little bit there. I prefer to read digital, so it's a little harder for me to read printed ones because I just don't get to them. Digital, I've got my phone with me. I can always read it on there. So the fourth one, I will get digital. I'll have to buy that one. Okay, my friend. Also, be sure you have an Irish coffee today to celebrate, or at least a coffee and put some whipped cream on top. I love you. Mwah. See you online.